The NFL trade deadline came and went, and the Falcons did not make a single move. Didn't really sound like, from the words of Raheem Morris, that they were even that close. We heard things about Azeez Ojulari, obviously a Georgia boy, a guy that we would like, definitely would have improved this Falcons pass rush. Outside of that, there weren't any like concrete connections to the Atlanta Falcons, at least none that carried much weight, and they don't make a move here. You saw guys get traded around the league. Most went for 5th or 6th round picks. But Alex, I want to ask you, I mean, are you a little disappointed? How are you feeling the fact, I mean, we kind of sat up here and said they had to make a move. We're sitting here, they didn't make a move. How do you feel about that?
I can compartmentalize, being unreasonable and reasonable fairly easy on this one. Unreasonably, yeah, I'm pissed off. This is, ridiculous. You're looking at a bottom 5 pass rush in the NFL. You're counting on guys who are, have shown no growth outside of Arnold Ebiketie in 1 week last week. And last week was encouraging against the Cowboys, but how encouraging really it was. I think there was a couple of cleanup sacks more so than actually getting after Dak quicker than, his progressions developed. I would say those are more coverage sacks than anything. But nobody's, on the in-house, nobody is worth, getting excited about. The Matthew Judon trade, we're only halfway through the season. It feels like we could say it was a flop. I mean, at best, it'll be a net negative or a net zero trade if he comes and starts doing a little bit more in the second half. A lot more, actually. It would have to get to be a net zero because we gave up a 3rd round pick.
Well, I agree, but at the same time, like, we're 6-3 without him doing anything. If we went out there and and he was a huge postseason performer, do we give a crap that he didn't perform?
No,
yeah.
No,
so I mean, there is like a way where we could look back at it and be like, all right, that was
net
worth
positive,
it.
Yeah, you get 4 sacks in a divisional round, the first postseason game in Mercedes-Benz history. You were immediately validated. Yeah. So that is a fair point. Likelihood, not good.
0.
So
it's more likely that he's not even playing at that point in the season, because that's the big reason why the pass rush got better.
So he had a season low percentage of snaps. Arnold Ebiketie had a season high percentage of snaps, and D'Angelo Malone had a percentage high, season high snaps. Now, D'Angelo Malone, from what I saw, looked pretty, it might be time to write that 3rd round pick off, which is just horrible to say. Arnold Ebiketie looked good again. I don't know if they were really coverage sacks or cleanup sacks, so to speak. But it's really discouraging as a Falcons fan sitting here thinking you got a top 10 offense, maybe a top 5 offense. When Zach Robinson gets more comfortable, Kirk Cousins gets a little bit more healthy. We get Drew Dalman back, even though Ryan Nuzile has been excellent in his absence. And you got a defense that a pass rush is going to hurt you at some point. Now, on the other side, I'll be quick. Azeez Ojulari wasn't going to put this team over the top. It sounds like Joe Schoen, the Giants GM, was just being a hardhead, knucklehead, should have traded Saquon last year, let him go to the Eagles. Now you can obviously make the case, the Giants are going to let Azeez walk in the offseason free agency and they get a comp pick back, but they're also expected to spend some money in free agency. So they're going to neutral out. They're going to, cancel each other out. So all in all, it feels like Terry Fontenot was trying to do business with a brick wall. Just a complete moron of a Giants GM, and nothing was ever going to come to fruition. Also, the combination of the tampering charges had less draft picks. All those things taken into account. I'm not too beat up. On one hand, like I said, I could play both sides. As a fan, pissed off. You don't think we can win, F you. But on the other side of being like, yeah, I get it. It wasn't Azeez Ojulari. Honestly, nobody on the trade market was really going to make a difference in my eyes. And you don't really want to be sacrificing all this draft capital for, a window that has just opened, even though Terry Fontenot has done absolutely nothing outside of the 1st round.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not going to look at it from any other way than this. I think it's pretty cut and dry, right? Terry Fontenot can't draft. He's shown us he can't draft. He's very good at acquiring. Now, the Matthew Judon trade was a flop, but overall, he's been very good at acquiring personnel. Maybe he looked at things and said, hey, all these guys suck. They're all not worth it.
Pro personnel.
But, yeah, pro personnel. That's what I'm saying. He's been one of the best in the business. Pretty much.
Honestly.
Look at Darnell Mooney, Kirk Cousins, Jesse Bates. Like, everything he touches on that side of things turns to gold. So I'd rather him use these draft picks for guys that he thinks could come in here and do something. And frankly, I just listen, just because you don't have as many draft picks doesn't make that 5th round pick that you do have any more valuable. It really doesn't. It does not. It like that guy is going to be that same guy no matter what. You're going to pick some guy that's not on the team in 2 years, as we've seen time and time again with these drafting. The only guy outside of the 1st round that's been worth a damn is Tyler Algier, and his value is immediately plummeted when you went and drafted a running back 8th overall the very next NFL draft. So listen, I think they should have done something, because why not? Because that pick doesn't matter. It's really that simple. Like you can sit up here and say, oh, it could be this, it could be that. Well, no, it does. No, it really can't, because one, it takes a good GM at drafting to draft someone good. And even the good GMs have trouble.
You're not even, what's the worst part is you're an exaggerative guy. You know, it's all or nothing extremes. You're not being extreme with Terry Fontenot's draft history. Literally outside of the 1st round, you know, I don't have it in front of me. 2 guys have really been contributors, and that's Tyler Algier
and Drew Dalman.
And Drew Dalman. Okay, I was going to say 3, and I'm blanking on Matthew Bergeron. Those 3 guys are about it, and more often than not, you know, I'm still waiting to see mode on Zach Harrison. I think he can develop into something, but go down the list. The Desmond Ritter pick, the D'Angelo Malone pick, the Arnold Ebiketie, I'm not sure, the Ruka Roro pick. You know, the Brandon Dorless pick. Like, these are all picks that Richie Grant. I was excited about Richie Grant. Clark Phillips. You know, go down the list. And more often than not, and listen, the hit rates on day 3 picks aren't high. But also, you kind of hope that they're at least special teamers. These guys aren't even finishing out their rookie contract. So it is not exaggerative to say that, like, you know, the less need F them picks. The Falcons should really adopt that, you know, philosophy, because they have shown no ability to draft outside of the 1st round. And to be quite honest, up until this year when they got Kirk Cousins, we were questioning the 1st round draft picks. Yeah. So, like, I agree with you completely. If you want to simplify it, you're not good at identifying talent at the collegiate level. So stick with what you know best, identify talent at the pro level, and then just use draft picks in that capacity.
And the other thing is,
it doesn't matter how you get talent.
And the other thing is, none of these guys were going for basically anything. I mean, we're not talking about
Marshawn Lattimore went for a 3rd round pick, and that was the most.
Like, all these guys were going 5th, 6th, 7th round picks. And you're telling me none of these guys could find any use on this defensive line, and you just like what you have in house, and maybe you do like the adjustments that you made. I mean, how often have we sat up here and been like, when is Arnold Ebiketie going to get some more snaps? I mean, I feel like we said that for 3 straight years, and they finally give it to him, and they're like, wow.
Good things.
Shocking that this guy can actually rush the passer. I mean, Lorenzo Carter is just out there getting cardio, and Arnold Ebiketie is sitting on the bench for half of these pass rush snaps. And we've all been like, hey, this guy, like, he might not be great, but like, he gets you, if you play him enough, he'll get you a sack a game, like, you know, and like a sack a game is a lot, or, you know, a sack every other game. You're leading the Falcons in sacks. That's what I'm saying. A sack every other game or something like, and he seems good for that when he gets the opportunities, but
sack every 3 games would be the highest total. I'm totally pulling this out of my butt in like 3 seasons by Falcons. That'd be like 6.5 sacks. That might be the highest total since, you know,
like Vic Beasley. Yeah. And
which is crazy.
When he had that miracle say, I mean, so hopefully that's something, but still adding more to that would have been nice, right? Because if that is something, we're going to be like, dang, you could have really had something then. Like, it just like, there's obviously a need. No matter what happens, the in-house guys aren't going to be good enough.
I'll say the perfect thing on this last minute here, that like everybody who, you know, who's the Giants, they have an expiring contract. They're not going to re-sign him because they have a ton of investment in the defensive line. They keep him. They're going to let him walk. A team like the Steelers, who already have one of the best pass rushes in the league, decide, we're going to make it better. We're going to get Preston Smith for virtually nothing, and we're going to have him, Alex Highsmith, and TJ Watt rushing your pass. And that's the kind of thing I think a lot of Falcons fans are sick of. It's like, we're banging on the door. We're trying really hard to be one of the good teams, and then we do stuff like this where it's like, you just got to pull the trigger, man. You just got to do it.
Yeah, and
we don't know what went behind the door. You know, I guarantee you the Giants GM was just being a complete moron and didn't want to listen to anybody. And he was like, I want a 3rd round pick for Azeez Ojulari. And Terry Fontenot was like, no.
Yeah. I mean, just give me something, you know. Yeah. You see other good teams with better pass rushers making moves. Why aren't the Falcons making moves? It really is that simple to me.